Hey everybody, welcome back to WEGS Garage. Today we are back to work on our door window mechanism, and today we're going to be trying to get our regulators in place and deal with a little bit of an issue we've got here with the regulator pivot bolt and its mounting location. Stay tuned. Alright, so here's what we're dealing with. We've got our window regulator. Alright, here's what we're dealing with. We got our window regulator mechanism in place. We just got it kind of loosely bolted in so we could see how it works. And you basically got two attachment points. There's a slide back here with a little wheel that moves back and forth on this rear arm. And then there's the pivot bolt location right here. And this is kind of where we've got a little bit of an issue. You see, this is what the pivot bolt looks like. It is kind of like a shoulder bolt, but it has two flat sides. A very helpful viewer from the internet sent us these pivot bolts because we were actually missing them. So thank you a million times over for these, because we never would have got this figured out without these. But now what we're kind of running into is this bolt goes back through here. The shoulder's supposed to hold it from turning. And it looks like these holes are really worn out. Like, I don't know how that would have happened, but somebody must have had like some really loose window regulators over time, and it must have just really rattled and worn these things out, and we didn't really know what we were looking at since we've never really had the window hardware. And here we are, and this is not going to work because this needs to fit snugly in this hole. So I think what we're gonna do, now ideally you would have something with the shoulder on the back side here to hold this bolt in place so that it doesn't turn while you tighten it. We're going to kind of abandon that and just, you can reach up inside. It's not ideal, but to hold the bolt while we tighten it. Main thing is on the front, we need a much tighter hole here to keep it in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little plate to kind of fit over here that has the hole in it, and then we're just going to rivet that into place. Okay, here's our plate in place. Got our bolt on there, and I think it turned out really nicely. We put all this hardware on for the window regulator mechanism, including the little stop bracket back here. There's a little L-shaped piece on the back side that stops the arm from coming out of the channel there. And so, yeah, everything works really nice. We greased up the slides with some of that transmission assembly grease, and everything moves really freely. So the next thing we're gonna do is get the window guide channels that we had previously redone with Velcro on a previous episode. There's one in the back, one in the front, and we're just gonna loosely mount those in place for now. Okay, so with our window slides in place, front and rear, we just got them loosely in place for now. Now we have this piece, which is the actual channel the window rides in, and that goes in like this. The first step is there's a leather washer on each one of these pins. It goes on the back side of the regulator mechanism. We'll put that in. Dad's gonna slide that into position. And then these fun little clips right here fit onto the regulator mechanism on a little sort of groove on the end of the pin, and that just holds everything in place. Alright, so here we've got our window in place up in the channel up there, and what we're running into is we need to move the top part of this front track a little bit forward. It's just a little bit too tight. It moves pretty nicely when you go up and down, kind of down in the door, but once it gets up to the top, it's just pinched a little too much together. And there's definitely something goofy with this brackets that hold this front channel on. There's another bolt that goes up here, you can see. So like, I think that bracket maybe got bent over time or something, and it's just kind of weird. So we're gonna have to try and bend that so that we can move things further forward so that this thing will move really nicely up and down. So that will be the next step. Otherwise, though, it's pretty cool to have windows in here right now. Very nice. Hey guys, welcome back. This is actually day 2, and so far today, we're like 6 hours into the day, and these windows, I swear, these windows are kicking our butts. Here's what we're dealing with. This is kind of the main issue. If you look here, you can see this gap at the bottom of the window is not the same as the gap at the top. In other words, there's kind of an issue with the angle of the windshield frame to the angle of the window. So what we've been working on today, you can actually adjust a little bit the angle of the windscreen frame. And so we've been playing with that. There's basically some rods that go down through here. If you watch our windscreen installation video, you can see how that kind of works, and they go into these little tubes, and those tubes are bolted to the side of the frame here, and if you loosen those bolts, you can get just a tiny bit of angle out of this, and we've actually managed to get most of that angle on the other side. We've gotten super duper close here. You can see this is pretty good. You know, it's not perfect. I would say there's maybe 1/8 of an inch difference between the top and the bottom. We're really close, but it's just not quite there, and I think we've got pretty much every adjustment maxed out at this point to try to get that angle right, and we're just not quite there. So I don't know, we're pretty frustrated right now. I've spent most of the day laying underneath the dash, adjusting those bolts. Hasn't been fun, so I don't know. Maybe somebody's got some suggestions. We'll be doing some research, see what we can find, and hopefully come up with a solution to our problem.
You're not supposed to see that.